Yeah, late breaking stories. Let's talk about what happened in the NFL. Houston, Jacksonville yesterday. Trevor Lawrence, the quarterback, was scrambling for the Jaguars, running left, gave himself up, hook slid down, and then got speared in the face mask by a Houston linebacker. It led to a bad brawl on the field, a lot of bad blood. I would assume Aziz Al-Shirah, the Houston linebacker, who led with a forearm to the face of Trevor Lawrence, where Lawrence was actually on the ground. He had given himself up. I went back and looked at the video today. Al-Shirah took 2 steps and then hit him after the quarterback had already gone down. The minute you give yourself up in a slide as a quarterback, you're not supposed to be hit. And he went headfirst in and hit him with a forearm right across the face mask. And the violence of the hit flipped Lawrence's head back onto the turf. He hit the back of his head. It was terrible. And he laid there, and then you saw him shaking, and he's got a concussion. And he was down for 7 minutes. It was a terrible fight on the field. A Jaguar lineman tried to get after Al-Shirah. Today he finally apologized, more or less. And he said there was not any intent. No, but you took 2 steps and you nailed a quarterback who had already given himself up. And by the way, you hit him with a freaking forearm in the face mask. Don't tell me about lack of intent. And I found out early this afternoon, he'd been fined twice already this season, $23,000. I'm sorry, $200,000, $223,000, 2 fines for blows to the head.
And this is now number 3.
This is the 3rd incident this year. And Tom Brady's last year, video has surfaced of him tackling Brady by the throat.
Okay.
So it's obvious this guy is a hitman and he's a dirty player. So he apologized to a degree, but it's really bad. I got my numbers all confused. He's been fined twice this season, $23,000 in fines for 2 incidents. Now he's got the 3rd one, but as a repeat offender, this is going to be huge. I think we're going to talk about suspensions and loss of game checks on top of everything else. And an age-old way, I mean, he's getting besieged by everybody. Jacksonville's coach publicly came out after the game, Doug Peterson. There was no place in the game for that type of play. So in essence, calling out the NFL to nail this guy. Then his own coach, DeMarco Ryan, said, we don't teach that way in Houston Texans football. So he apologizes finally. And then in typical fashion, what does he do? At the end of the apology, everybody's just been hateful towards me. He pulls out the race card. And then he pulls out the Islamic faith situation. He says, I hit people as hard as I can, then I pray they can get up. Well, what kind of rhetoric is that? So it was really ugly. John, you've seen the video, you want to throw up.
It's bad.
It was intent.
There was no question.
So that's a terrible, terrible story. Second item, Team USA. How cool is this for the U.S. women's soccer team? Now, they have the new head coach who came from Chelsea in the English Premier League, Emma Hayes, who's all she's ever done her whole career is win. So Team USA played England in a friendly game over the weekend. They played it at Wembley Stadium. 78,700 there. I mean, it was electric. And U.S. played them to a 0-0 tie. U.S. had a goal wiped out on a controversial offsides call. They had a second goal wiped out by video replay. And they did it without their top 3 goal scorers. All 3 are out with injuries. Rodman, Smith, and the third one, I can't recall the name. The top 3 goal scorers are not there. So this was a really impressive Team USA performance to get a 0-0, 0-0 tie in England at Wembley in front of 78,700 fans. It was pretty cool. I saw some of the pieces of video. It was pretty electric. Hockey. I've been chirping that one of these days these guys got to turn the corner. We're talking about the Anaheim Ducks. They look like they've turned the corner. Their record now is 10-10-3. 10 wins the 1st of December. They didn't have 10 wins last year till February. So all their young guys are starting to really play together. The Gulls are having a really tough time. They don't have any of their young players. They show some spurts where a couple of their draft picks, led by Cutter Gauthier, score goals, but they're second to last in the 30-team American Hockey League in goal scoring. They're only 4-14 on the season. They're having a real tough time. The other big storyline as it relates to the Ducks is that John Gibson, Cam Fowler may be on the trade block, and that they may move them in their big contracts to get other veteran players and to stockpile more draft choices. John Gibson has come back from injuries after injuries and bad team in front of him, and he's playing much better this year, so his trade value has gone up. But it looks as if John Gibson and defenseman Cam Fowler, who's still on the injured list, was getting ready to come back. Those guys could well be traded. And the final topic on the table, Team Red Bull Formula One. There've got to be some auto racing fans that follow what I'm talking about here, so feel free if you want to get into this. Max Verstappen, who went through an 11-race drought and did not win any races in Formula One, won at Qatar on Sunday. He's now won 9 races. He's won 2 in a row after the 11-week drought. He won by 6 seconds. Race was marred by a lot of incidents on the track with debris on the field. Lando Norris, who'd been chasing him all year in the points championship, got penalized for running over debris from what was supposed to be during a caution period. But they're going to the final race of the season. Verstappen has won the points championship, and Verstappen is back to being Verstappen. He's won his 9th race in a row. So, John, feel free to talk about cheap shots in the NFL, the women, hockey, or F1.
There's just a lot right there. So the dude in Houston, the Texans, they took that shot on Trevor Lawrence. That's a low character guy. I mean, it's a low self-esteem guy, because he's playing the victim, right? It wasn't my fault, or, I'm just hitting and I'll pray
he's pulling
for
out
him
the
later.
race card and the Islamic faith thing at the end of his apology.
Well, that has nothing to do with it. I mean, nothing at all, and it's almost like you're killing the golden goose, because the quarterbacks are what make the league so popular. Now, granted, Trevor Lawrence is not one of the best quarterbacks, but still, I mean, I'm shocked the guy is even on the team that with those kind of character traits and that back history. Now, I will just say this on the flip side. It is interesting how some of the players are just ferocious, but at the last second, they can turn it off and avoid the quarterback.
He could have pulled up. He took 2 steps. Trevor Lawrence had committed to slide. The minute your wallet is on the ground, you're not supposed to be touched. You're giving yourself up. And Al-Shirah took 2 steps, head first in, forearm to the face.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully this dude gets a big fine. He's already gotten multiple fines before. He's grabbing Tom Brady by the neck. I mean, dude needs to be reprimanded here. I mean, the other games, it's weird to be excited about a 0-0 soccer tie, but if it's against England and that's, the coach going back home, it's kind of a cool story. But imagine if you're a fan, you spent 78,000 people in the stadium and you walk out of a 0-0 tie. How do you feel as a fan?
Yeah, but it was really entertaining and it was special. She is revered for what she did for Chelsea's women's team in the English Premier League Women's League, all the championships and the trophies she won. So her homecoming, it was really special, but it was a great game. And for Team USA to do this, have 2 goals taken off the books because of offsides or video replay, and to do it without their top 3 goal scorers, that's kind of impressive. So Team USA's women's side getting ready for the World Cup, they're making progress.
They are. I mean, I like Sophie Smith on that team. I think she's going to be a new dominant person.
Yeah, big Rodman fan. You like
Rodman too. Yeah, that's all fun as well. The other thing with Team Red Bull, there's a commercial that I've been seeing on television of Max Verstappen, and
sure.
And he's like, they're getting annoyed with the announcer kind of distracting them. Have you seen that ad?
Yeah, he's all over the place. I've never seen anybody on a race team. You think race team, one for all for one. I've never seen anybody whose emotional pendulum swings back and forth. One week he hates F1 officials. The next week he's criticizing his crew chief. Next week he's criticizing the engineers. This thing's undrivable. God, he's gone back and forth. The mood swings on that team have been crazy. And yet, here they are at the end of the season. They win the last 2 races, and he's got the points championship sewed up again. But tough hombre to be around. Teammate? Yeah, teammate, sure.
Yeah. Well, it's just interesting that in America, where we haven't 100% embraced F1, although we're getting close to it, now we have a international superstar appearing in American commercials.
Yeah.
And I think that's a kind of breaking through, to the next level in America.
Oh, yeah. That's why they've gone from 1 or 2 races and they're going to have 5 here. And that's why all of a sudden Cadillac F1, aka Andretti Autosports, is going to F1 in 2026. They finally got it approved. Okay, those are all the topics on the table. We're